Hey guys, Nick here with VanCan, and I was looking at my most popular video, which is how to manual, and at this time, it's already got 500,000 views. Apparently, a lot of you out there want to learn how to manual, and I've been thinking about how I can help, or how I could help anyone really just learn to manual better. So I was looking through the comments, looking at problems people are having, and I came up with this fun idea that maybe might actually be able to help people learn how to manual. And that's, what if I had a device that would teach you how to manual? And now, I don't know how well this is going to work, so we're just going to try it out together. So my idea is, basically, I'm going to have this little box, and it's going to beep to let you know when you've pulled up the front wheel high enough. And maybe it'll beep to let you know when you've about to go too far backwards and maybe you should pull the brake. I haven't figured that part out exactly yet, what exactly it's going to do, but basically it's going to beep to let you know you're in the right spot to manual. Because when I was looking through all the comments, a lot of people are saying, you know, they're trying to pull up, they're having trouble getting the front wheel up. I think if you had this thing that was telling you, you know, you're not pulling the front wheel up high enough, you know, you got to pull it harder, you got to pull up more, then maybe it would kind of encourage you to figure it out a bit more, figure it out a bit faster, and just get an overall feel for it. And then same with if you can pull up far enough, but you're kind of scared about not knowing when you should pull the brake and things like that, maybe this could let you know when you should pull the brake. So let's just look at this little prototype that I've thrown together. So I know it's really messy, but let's just go through my little proof of concept right here. Like I said, we have this little computer here, the microcontroller. It's an Arduino, and it's getting the angle data from this little chip here. Whatever angle I put this breadboard at, it tells me the angle on my computer. Then I have it programmed right now to say that once I get to a certain angle, turn off this LED. And right now I just have it turning on an LED, well, turning off an LED, but that's where this comes in. This is a really loud buzzer, which I'm going to make it make noise when you're at the right angle, or you're about to fall back, or maybe you're not pulling up high enough. So that's sort of my little general concept, but maybe let's just look at like a block diagram just to give you guys a better idea of what I'm thinking. So basically my idea is this. When you pull up the front wheel, that's going to make an angle with the ground, and I'm going to measure that with the Arduino. Now when you're flat against the ground, maybe I'll get it to beep, and it'll beep louder and louder until you approach the angle where you're supposed to be, that height that you're supposed to pull up the front wheel to. And then maybe when you get up to this height, I'll have it go silent, and then it'll start beeping again when you get too far and you should pull the brake. Now I'll admit, I'm not exactly sure if this is going to work in that. I'm not sure if I'll teach you how to manual, but it might just be crazy enough to work. But let's talk about how I'm actually going to build this thing. So the hardware is not too complicated. I think I'll use 18 volts here, which will be my two 9-volt batteries. Then I'll probably have to use some sort of power regulation, which will turn the 18 volts into 5 volts, and that'll power my microcontroller, which is this Arduino. That'll be connected to the gyro, which gives me the angle data, which is this little doodad here. The angle data will go back to the microcontroller, and then the microcontroller will control a transistor, which is basically acting as a switch. It turns things on and off. But instead of being a physical switch, it takes in a voltage, and that's how the switch opens and closes. And as the switch opens and closes, well, that'll control our buzzer, which will give us that nice loud beeping noise, which will let you know if you're not going high enough or you're going too far. Okay, so first things first, I need to power everything, and then I need to get the buzzer built into my little prototype here, and basically take out this little LED and make it basically do exactly what I want it to do before I make it into a little device of its own. So like I said, I'm just taking these 9-volt batteries, and I'm going to plug it in, and I found a little voltage regulator I have here, which is going to take in this higher DC voltage, put out a lower DC voltage, power my Arduino and everything, and then I need to figure out how I'm going to wire in my little buzzer here and use the transistor as a switch to turn it on and off. Then, basically, I'll have to write a bit of code to make it beep and tell it when to beep when I want it to. That is, to teach you how to manual. Okay, let's get started. Alright, so I looked up the data sheet for my little power regulator and figured out where the pins go. Right now I got 9 volts going in. Couldn't find my multimeter, so I had to bust out the oscilloscope. Got 9 volts going in, 5 volts coming out. And if you're wondering why I'm using any parts that I'm using or any tools that I'm using, it's pretty much because that's what I have laying around. No real other reason besides that. And it'll work. Probably. Maybe. We'll find out. I guess I should quickly explain what an oscilloscope is. Basically, it shows you what electrical signals look like. A multimeter, like you'd find in your house, that you test your wall voltage with, just tells you on the little display how many volts it is. Like on this battery, hold it against here, it would tell you it's 9 volts. But, say with the electricity in your wall, if you wanted to see what that signal looked like, you'd have to use an oscilloscope, and, well, that's why it's overkill for what I'm doing right now, but it's all I have, and I still need to measure some voltages. Okay, so I've cleaned things up a bit, and I have everything on a board now, and I've been able to sort of compact it down a bit more than I was expecting. Basically, I took the little microcontroller that comes on these Arduino development boards, popped it off, put it in my breadboard, and a few things happened. It took a lot longer than I was expecting. It's been a while since I've actually taken one of these microcontrollers off and put it on a breadboard, but let's just take a look at it really quick. So here it is, and here it is doing... Ooh, that's really loud. Basically, I have it set right now so that it's measuring the angle, and eventually, as it tilts high enough, you can hear the buzzer go. Now, a few problems I ran into. It turns out, if you're powering things from a battery, the voltage will dip even with this small little setup, and I was getting what's called a brownout issue, where the voltage drops too low and things reset over and over and over again. So I fixed that by putting what's called the capacitor in there. Basically just smooths things out and doesn't let that power dip too low. I also forgot that there's not a clock inside these ones. Well, there is, but you have to turn it on, and that's a big hassle. So I just had to use an external one, which is just this little silver piece here, and that just lets you count things. Sort of, it's just a clock, just keeps track of time. Then we're still using our little gyro here, and I thought I would have to use a transistor to jump up the voltage to run this buzzer, but actually if I just hook it right up to the Arduino, right up to the microcontroller, that is loud enough. So let's go hear that outside. Okay, so it's almost working. We're just about there. The prototype is coming along. And like I said, I thought it wouldn't be loud enough without using 2 9-volt batteries to power this thing. But if I just plug it right into the microcontroller, and well, there's a road over there and it's pretty loud out here. And so let's say we were doing our manual and we go too far. It's super loud, it's plenty loud. I'm definitely gonna hear it when it's sitting on my bike. So I think the only thing left to do is a bit more programming just to set how far I need the front wheel to come up and how far is too far. And then maybe I'll solder it together and maybe I'll put it in something to kind of protect it and make it look somewhat presentable. But we'll see. Let's go finish it up. All right, as you can probably tell by my hair growth that I kind of slacked on finishing this video, but I did finish it, the little project. Look at, there it is. Doesn't look suspicious at all. So let's see it work. Basically, I turn it on, give it a second to calibrate. Oop. And then it beeps, and as it tilts towards where you're supposed to be, it beeps faster until you hit, the manual, the perfect manual spot. And then if you are manualing and you go a little too far back, it warns you, and you should pull the brake. So, there we are. Oh, doing a perfect manual. Oh, too far down, too far back. And there we go, that's how it works, basically. Slow beeps, faster beeps, no beeping when you're in the manual, and then too far back, really loud beep to let you know to pull the brake. And that's it. Now, I did realize that I said I would solder this all together and probably make it look nicer, but, good enough. It's probably gonna work. At least it's gonna do what I think it'll do. And I'm just also gonna tape it to my bike right here, and that'll get the job done. I didn't actually do any engineering when it came to this thing. I really just guessed my way through it. I didn't take into account any sort of timing. I didn't calculate any power or currents or anything like that. I kind of just, it's eyeballed. The whole thing is eyeballed, but I think it's still gonna work. So the trickiest part of this whole thing was getting it to beep slowly when it was level and then beep faster as you approach that angle, the angle of the manual. And the problem with these microcontrollers is that it can only do one thing at once, only so fast. Think of it like you couldn't use both your brakes at the same time. You could only choose to either use the back brake or the front brake, and then there was some time delay between doing those two things. And I mean, really, you'd want to use them at the same time, so how do you do that? And so that's sort of the same problem we see here. And what I did was I mapped all the angles that I could measure to longer delays, well actually shorter delays because it's backwards. I wanted faster buzzes. And every time it would go through the loop, it would read the angle, and then basically it would say, oh, this delay is mapped to this angle, you know, only turn the buzzer on for this amount of time, and that seems to work pretty well. If I move it back and forth too fast, the reaction time isn't that great, but it's good enough. I think, like I said, let's just try this out. Let's tape it to the bike. All right, here we go with some real engineering here. Good old electrical tape. All right, so here it is. Basically all you do is you flip your switch, turns it on, calibrates and finds the level, and really loud beeps. Let's make sure. I kind of just guessed the angles that you'd need to manual, and there's no way that they're gonna be right, but let's try it out. No, it's way off. But maybe I could do this. I can let it calibrate a little bit this way, so I don't have to go home and reprogram this thing right this second. All right, let's just try it quick. I mean, it kind of works. It works a lot better than I thought it would. I don't know, is this something that would actually teach you how to manual? Like, maybe just to like get in your mind, like having a coach there telling you like, hey, you're not pulling up hard enough and I'll let you know when you should grab the brake? I don't know, but it works better than I thought, which is always cool. But let's get this angle thing sorted out and really get it working. Now I've got to adjust the angle that all the beeping happens at, and basically you need to put the microcontroller back in this board and program it, and that'll work. You know, if I was really smart, I would make it so I could program it still on the breadboard, and I would also probably log where I'd actually like to manual that angle, but I'm just gonna guess because I don't want to spend that much time on this thing. So let's hope that the guessing gets things done faster than doing them the right way. This will give you a pretty good idea of how I got my homework done. All right, I'm gonna change the angle that it stops beeping to 30 and the angle where it warns you to pull your brake to about 60 degrees. Let's see how that works. All right, so I think I have everything sorted out now, and let's see how it works. So flip the switch, let it calibrate, find the level. There we get a lot of loud beeping. Beeps faster until you hit that manual spot, and then lets you know that's the spot, that's where you want to be. And then if you go too far back, lets you know to pull the brake. It's really loud, kind of annoying, but maybe that'll keep you in the good spot, the good manual. All right, let's give it a go. Turn it on. There's our beeping. All right, let's give it a go. All right, and get up to a wheelie, and oh yeah, see? And then too far. Look at that. Does the thing. And you come along. You go to a wheelie. Oh, I'll let you know it doesn't go high enough. Try again. Oh, you didn't go high enough. And it lets you know to pull the brake. I think those angles are pretty close. All right, so it works. It's kind of like your own personal mountain bike and wheelie coach. If I should keep working on this, or you have any other electronics ideas, leave them in the comments below, and let me know if something like this would help you. It's kind of a dumb idea, but also not kind of dumb. Mostly dumb, but does do the thing. And I don't know, maybe if it was a real product, it could help someone learn how to manual or wheelie. So let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.